now we're going.
All right. So Jeff Spencer, we were talking about potentially submitting a change order to your GC to try to help assist with the increasing fuel costs. Now, is there any potential there for damaging relationship by, would someone feel slighted? Because they're dealing with it too, right?
Maybe, I was going to say, maybe if it was just, something that was affecting you and nobody else. But, this right here is affecting people nationwide, and probably worldwide as far as that goes with the war and stuff going on. But if I was an individual and I hadn't done my due diligence to give a good faith price, and I had something that I missed or left upside down, then yes, it could damage a relationship, or you just want to eat it one or the other. But, when it comes to fuel, it's like increased pricing, in products. Just a few short months ago, we had major increases in steel and steel pipe, PVC pipe, and it just kept, it was just getting astronomical. It's come down some, but now it's starting to go back up because of fuel prices. But I was able to lobby and get change orders to cover my extra cost of my materials. Now, some of those jobs were like, hard bid numbers, which all of them are hard bid numbers, but they were like, for instance, GMP, guaranteed maximum price. They'd already give the owner this price regardless of what happens. We're not going to go over unless the owner changes something. Well, in this instance, a couple of those jobs, I was able to get like 60, 70% reimbursement. I ate 20, 30, 40%, whatever that may have been. I eat that myself just to save those relationships. But unless you ask, you don't know. If it's costing you money and you feel that, that you need to be, reimbursed for this extra cost, you don't feel like it's fair, then talk to your project manager you're working with and say, hey, do it through email. Me personally, I don't like to blindside somebody with the email. I want to call them on the phone and say, look, man, I really need some help right here. These fuel prices are killing me. These material prices are killing me. I'm going to end up, losing my ass on this job just for these extra costs that, weren't accounted for because we didn't know they were coming. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you or the owner can do, And he's like, well, let me check and see. We don't see anybody lose money. And that's the kind of relationships you want. If you have somebody just shut you down right off the bat, then you may want to rethink bidding to that guy, in the near future.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways, yeah.
Yeah.
And, if they're willing to help me at 50% or more, then I'm willing to eat some of that too. You just got to find a happy medium to where you're not going to show a loss. In some instances, to keep a good relationship, you might have to break even. And I'm okay with breaking even.
Yeah. Well, it's reasonable. Because, the fact that if they had to go somewhere else, then they're going to have, the higher costs, associated with the fuel charges. So. And
then if it doesn't happen that way, if you're dealing with an owner or GC that is hell bent on like, I'm sticking to your number, we've got a contract and this is what it's going to be, then you got to get creative. You got to find ways that you can make up extra costs on that project. Mm-hmm. Sure. Because, like I said, I'm okay with breaking even every now and then. I don't like that, but I'm okay with it. But if I can keep from losing money, then that's the name of the game. Mm-hmm. But if I can find ways to take a job that's potentially going to lose money and turn it into break even or small profit, you've got to get, creative. You got to find out, can I make it up in extra labor? Can I push my guys, get in a little quicker? Is there ways that I can get this in without having to use all these resources? Mm-hmm. You got to find ways to do things like that. Is there a cheaper material I can use that I can get approved through the engineer?
Right.
So those are the type of things you got to do to find some way to cheapen up your project to offset those potential costs.
That's good stuff.
And I guess it, begs a bigger question then. It's like, how favorably is a change order looked upon? Like, from one aspect of it, it's the cost of doing business, right? Mm-hmm. And, as if I were a general contractor, in good faith, I would not want you to lose money, but I would suspect that there is a number of GCs or builders out there that maybe don't look so favorably on change orders, because that means either you could have planned something that you didn't account for, or maybe they're just flat out annoyed by it.
Some contractors are like that. You got what I call change order happy contractors, like to where they'll go in and they'll knock the bottom out of this job just to get the job, knowing that you're feeling pretty good about, well, I can write a change order for this, I can write a change order for that. And if you're an experienced estimator, you're going to see things that the engineer may have missed or overlooked. Mm-hmm. Good potential change orders. And then you don't bring that up, in the pre-bid, say, hey, engineer, left this out or he didn't do this. I think we could, what we call value engineering. You could do a little value engineering and save the owner some money, but you'll settle on that and wait for a potential change order. But on the other hand, that's what change orders are for, because the engineer and the architect, they're not going to get everything right.
Sure.
And in the grand scheme of things, the owner is going to see things that he wants to do different based off the original design as the progress of the job goes along. Mm-hmm. He wants to add this, or he may want, it may be a deducted change order. He's like, well, I don't need this, I want to take it out. So you got to be willing to give that deducted change order as well. But that's what change orders are for. Anything that's unforeseen or anything that's changed versus what you bid on originally. So change orders are not necessarily a bad thing, as an owner goes or a general contractor goes. It's there to protect them. It's there to protect their subs. Mm-hmm. But when you start hitting a GC or owner time and time again on little nitpicky stuff, like, a lot of times if I've got, some extra cost, maybe it's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, I'll make it known, like, this has changed, but, I'm not going to burden you with change order. I like working with you. I'm going to go ahead and eat this.
Small peanuts.
Small peanuts. Yeah. And then, you get into changes, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000. And then that way, they're going to be more readily to not expect such an explanation for this change order. Why is this change order so much? Why we got to do this? They're going to say, well, he's helped me out, and this seems legit. I'm going to go ahead and write this change order. Mm-hmm. And there again, he's got to lobby. He's got to go back and lobby the owner, because the owner is the one that pays for it in the long run.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you are, in a sense, when it comes to, bonus time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of a give or take. When you get a good contractor, we got 3 or 4 good contractors we work with on a regular basis, when we have a really good rapport with, and they know that if I hit them with a change order, it's legit. I'm not just throwing stuff out there, to try to get extra money. But it's a given rule. When you throw out a change order, it's got a little more markup than what your original cost had. It's got a little more markup, materials than what you originally had. But that's a point, because it's an aggravating point, to go back and price this up, make changes. You're set up in the field, geared up to do one thing, that you're already set for. Absolutely. And now you got to redirect everything. It may be some lost time, because they don't get approved just like that. Most of the time you got to wait a few days or even a few weeks. Yep. And so you got guys out in the field, you got to move to another job or whatever. So you got mobilization, remobilization.
Time and resources.
Could be cost a lot more than what it looks like on paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, on a change order. You want to be pretty detailed in it, because the GC you work with, he may not be real familiar with your scope of work, and he's got to go to the owner and explain it to the best he can. So the more detailed, more information you give him, then the more likely you are to get this change order approved if he's got a complete understanding of it.
Save him from having to micromanage what's going on.
Right.
Sure.
Well, not to change the order of things, fellas, but I think we're out of time, so we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
Jeff Spencer, thank you as always.
Thank you, guys.
Jeff
G.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Jerry, for your awesome camera work.
Like the page.
Of course. Visit us on Facebook, youtube.com/ProfitDig. If you just Google Profit Dig, one word, you'll find us everywhere. Come see us. Want to see you there, profitdig.com. See you next time.